Good morning, my dear friends. Hello, everyone. Brian Doyle's masterpiece, Joyas Voladoras, is about hummingbirds, a whale, worms, and a cat dragging itself into the forest to die. He uses metaphorical symbolism to grab your attention. By describing the life we live and how we love, Doyle compares and contrasts differences and similarities between the hummingbird, tortoise, blue whale, small insects, and humans. He talks about love and emotion, insecurities and loneliness, and childhood memories. Doyle emphasizes that life is precious, that there are different ways to live your life. In the beginning of the story, Doyle reveals the meaning of Joyas Voladoras, meaning flying jewels. He brings to the reader in vivid detail the hummingbird. When reading the essay, one cannot help but immersed in the distinct imagery created by the writer. At the beginning of the essay, the author states the various features to characterize hummingbird, which helps him to illustrate one specific type of heart, the mad heart. In the first paragraph, he starts to illustrate the hummingbird's heart by stating, "Hummingbird's heart beats 10 times a second." Also in his stated, "Their hearts hammering faster than we could clearly hear if we pressed our elephantine ears to their infinitesimal chests." By stating the numerical data, the figures and numbers in 10 times and in 300 species. By mixing this data with vivid sensory language, the author creates a concrete image of incredibly fast-paced animals. His quotes actually helps the readers to get a complete understanding of the nature of hummingbirds' heart. Also, his stylistic and direct way of choosing a word in contrasting the side of the heart to its speediness further magnifies his point and emotionally appeals to the readers of the beauty of the flourishing life of hummingbirds. Now, here's your turn. We have 3 questions to answer here. Number 1. Can you spot a use of allusion in paragraph 1? There is a signpost here that we call contrast and contradiction. Can you identify it? What idea does the contrast help to define? In other words, what does the author want to underscore by presenting this contrast here? Waiting for your answers. After Doyle describes how fast hummingbird's heart is, he starts to illustrate the pain of hummingbirds' way of spending life and makes connections to other creatures' way of spending their lives too. In the second paragraph, he mentions, "But when they rest, they come close to death." And through the middle of the essay, he also states, "The price of their ambition is a life closer to death. They suffer heart attacks and aneurysms and ruptures more than any other living creatures." His use of both highly connotative style of word choice and inclusion of extreme diseases to show the negative effect of mad heart makes the author to underline his main point, that fast way of using heart lead hummingbirds to live shorter, which creates heartbreaking tone. Furthermore, in the third paragraph, he states, "Every creature on Earth has approximately 2 billion heartbeats to spend in a lifetime," and said, "We can choose to spend the hearts either as tortoise, who live longer, or as hummingbird, who live shorter." This distinct comparison creates a particular connection, helps readers to consider the hummingbird's fast heart as one of our way of spending emotion which may last shorter than other ways. Now, the last sentence in paragraph 2 is very lengthy, stating the variety of hummingbird species and how amazing they are. This style emphasizes the author's sense of awe and wonder at these tiny birds. Now it's time to your questions. Going back to paragraph 2, what happens to the hummingbirds when they are cold or starving? Why do hummingbirds have such a short life cycle? What effect does the writer achieve by using elaborate language? Identify the tone of paragraph 2, highlighting the type of diction used. The ornate language is evident throughout the whole essay, but let's take the first sentence as an example to that. When he wants to describe the birds having incredible, enormous, immense, ferocious metabolism, the piling of the adjectives here in such a way to appeal to the reader's emotion, which we call pathos. The underlying meaning of Joyas Voladoras is to make the reader feel the human experience through written words. The use of pathos invokes emotion and breaks down barriers between the writing and the reader, making the reader vulnerable. Another remark here is the use of pace. Doyle's using of pacing here, which controls how the reader reads his essay, here he shows the beginning of his message of vulnerability, of the vulnerability of heart. He all but screams all the reader. This is the key. Doyle warns of the danger of flight and how expensive is to fly. You burn out. Here, you burn out. You fry the machine. You melt the engine. Okay, this is the overarching or the most important theme here. The heart is vulnerable. This is what he wants to deliver to us. Even the hummingbird's well-oiled machine of a heart, one that is designed and built to withstand and promote the hummingbird's fast-paced life, will burn out. Even the most efficient heart has its weaknesses. The author slowly stops to illustrate about hummingbird's heart, but introduces one of the other types of heart, which is the big heart of blue whale. In paragraph 4, the author says, "It weighs more than 7 tons, and a child could walk around it, head high, bending only to step through the valves." The author use of ethos here, which is using scientific facts and numerical data to establish credibility between the author and the reader. He mixes ethos with imagery through the physical image of a child, this to expand the overall meaning of the big whale's heart to the kind and unselfish one. Also, through connection to the whale's big heart, Doyle creatively shows blue heart's companionship with other whales that have positive effects while the pain still exists in whale society. In the middle of paragraph 4, Doyle mentions, "For next to nothing is, till, piercing, yearning tongue." His use of various adjectives, sensuous language, or sensory details, this style and pathos in showing whale's pain provokes both emotions of the joy of social life and sorrow. He wants to convey his broader intention, which is, all type of hearts have common nature of emotion that sometimes brings pain. Finally, Doyle asserts that humans all have their unique form of heart that has universal nature, through illustrating humans' heart and its vulnerability that leads emotion to break down eventually. In paragraph 5, from the beginning of the paragraph, the author enumerates lots of animals and their structure of hearts. Through narrowing down from mammals to unicellular bacteria, he systematically breaks down the various type of hearts into one common heart, in which fluid flows. Then the author states, "No living being is without interior liquid motion. We all churn inside." By using inclusive pronoun, which is we, to include the readers into his idea of humans' common feature, Doyle not only successfully makes the connection from animals' heart to humans' hearts that allows the readers to have further understanding of connection, but also adds to the persuasiveness of the author's main point that all humans have the same feature of emotion, which comes from the heart. Doyle makes the further concentration on nature of humans' emotions and its breakdown. In paragraph 6, he states, "We open windows to people we love," he meant, "but we live alone in the house of the heart." And then later, "Yet fragile and rickety always, no matter how ferocious the defense and how many bricks you bring to the wall." He means that we build walls between us and our emotions. By figuratively elaborating the human's emotion in terms of the house and using complex sensory languages, he magnifies his crucial point that humans' emotion is vulnerable. Furthermore, Doyle adds, you can break up your heart as stout and tight and hard and cold and impregnable as you possibly can, and down it comes. And down it comes in an instant. How's that? How down it comes in an instant? Because of the powerful emotional experiences such as the memory of your father's voice early in the morning echoing from the kitchen where he is making pancakes for his children. Towards the ends, Doyle deliberately uses lots of visual languages to highlight the fact which our heart is vulnerable even though you make the wall harder and regardless of who you are. Also, by enumerating or stating the situations that could break down one's wall in emotion, the author offers readers to remind the memory of their situation where their emotion breaks down, which make the situation clear. Overall, Doyle not only states positive instances such as women's second glance, but he deliberately includes the further situations that cause certain pains on emotion, in which the author explicitly imply our vulnerable nature of emotion also causes pain as hummingbird and blue whale. The final two paragraphs of Joyas Voladoras are what cement Doyle's intentions for this essay. Doyle's writings seem to revolve around the heart and its significance to our lives. He deals with how flimsy life is. This is so easily seen in the ending of this essay. Each paragraph in it has a similar ending, a long sentence, then a few short ones or short phrases to end it. However, the last paragraph, the end of the essay, ends abruptly. It feels like something else is coming, but nothing is. Doyle ends with the reminiscing on the memory of her father doing in the kitchen whatever for his children. There are no closing remarks. It just stops. It is the perfect way to encapsulate his theme of this flimsiness of life. Life doesn't have a nice bow at the end of it. It ends, and often it ends rather abruptly as though there was more left to be said. In Joyas Voladoras, Doyle uses the tool of pace to create a piece of literature that simulates the wonders of the heart. By controlling the speed, Brian Doyle manages to lead the reader to the true meaning of his essay in the same way that a horse is led to water. However, it is up to the reader to think. The message Doyle gives the world is that life ends. It does not last, and that is what gives it beauty. It is that beauty that led the first white explorers to declare the hummingbirds were flying jewels. The beauty comes from the acknowledgement that life is ultimately temporary. Doyle uses pace to lead all those who intently read to that conclusion. Doyle's masterpiece is not in his words, but in his ability to dictate how his audience reads those words. That is the true crowning jewel of Joyas Voladoras. Another interpretation to the different animals portrayed in Joyas Voladoras essay as various aspects of love. Then the Doyle's hummingbird could be symbolic of the concept of eros or erotic love. This type of love is more commonly associated with the first stage of a relationship wherein love is based on physical traits, intense passion, and sudden affection. The intensity of hummingbird's beating heart is symbolic of the passionate energy of love based on eros. While the symbolic nature of the whale as a type of love for Doyle takes the form of philos, namely a kind of love which is based on the friendship between two people, while the phrase "the animals with the largest hearts in the world generally travel in pairs" is indicative of philos love, other aspects of this particular type of love are also apparent. The main theme in Brian Doyle's Joyas Voladoras is to treasure every moment in life. from the moments of you being most hurt to the happiest moments in your life. How do we wrestle who we are? How we struggle is who we are. For our hearts are not pure. Our hearts are filled with need and greed as much as with love and grace. And we wrestle with our hearts. We struggle, we grapple with our hearts all the time. The wrestling is who we are. How we wrestle is who we are. What we want to be is never what we are. Thank you. Bye-bye.